Well, good morning and welcome to today's video. Today's video was a bit of a gamble, which I'm not sure if it's going to pay off or not. If we look over that way, it's looking quite nice. And yeah, it was one of those, I looked at the weather report late last night and 50% chance of rain. So I thought, well, 5 o'clock start, let's get out there and give it a go, shall we? So that's what we've done. Now, turning up, it got a little bit wet, should we say, but we've carried on anyway, and it looks like everything's clearing up. And I'm about 10 minutes away from sunrise, so I want to get up, spin you around, I want to get up here and hopefully get some images like this. Okay, right, so what I've done in this shot is, well, basically I've come up from the woodlands, which is just down below us here, come up onto the ridge, but the cloud at the moment is still very, very low. We just get little glimpses of the scenery in behind. So what I thought I'd do is I'll just shelter, because there's a lot of wind coming across here at the moment, is I've just sheltered behind this little wall. And what I've done is I've taken a shot of the wall, as that's pretty dominant in the picture on the right hand side of the image, but it does trail off as it goes down the hill, and the eye line basically picks up the path, and the idea is that the path will take your eye into the further depths of the image, where we've just got the tips of the rocks and the peaks just coming out through the mist and the cloud. So that's the composition. And what I'll show you, what I'm going to have to do is, because there's such a dynamic range going on at the moment with the darkness of the wall and the stones and the lightness of the sky, because the sun's coming up above the clouds just over there, which you can't see, but it's shining onto the landscaping behind. There's just so much dynamic range there. So what I've done is I've taken 3 focus points on the wall, just basically for safety. I've taken one in the foreground, one in the mid, and one right down where it disappears just below the scene. And then I've adjusted the exposure to take into consideration of the sky. So just as the highlights are just about to blow out, that's where I've left it, so that I've got detail in the sky, and I've taken a picture of that. And so what I can do then is then blend it in Photoshop, and we should have a pleasing image going right the way through. But yeah, so that's what we've done on this one, so I'll pop that up for you now. Okay, well, holy crap, that scared the crap out of me. Right. Oh dear. Right, well, I've come to the top of this part of the rock formation, and the clouds are just too low, and I'm not really going to get very many images from up here, I don't think. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go back the way I came and see what we can find back down in those woodlands and stuff. And I noticed there is a building further down, which I'm going to go down and have a look at now. I was hoping to get a nice picture right out across the landscape there, but it's not really happening at the moment. So kind of cut our losses really, and head back down. It's just, like I say, it's just too misty, as you can see over there. It's very moody, it's very nice, but you've got to kind of realise when you beat when it comes to that side of things. But the lower we get down and we get just to the edge of the cloud line, I think the images will start coming back to us. So I'll catch you when we get down there. Okay, so this is my thinking on this one. You see you've got all this, lots of lovely mist and stuff coming in. There's just nothing there, so we've got a lot of negative space going on over here, and that's kind of where that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment with the image. Now, there is this white boulder here, which it kind of looks nice, but I think really, as your eye is always drawn to the lightest part of an image, this will be way too distracting for the image overall when you've got all this going on in the background. So basically what I've done is I've brought the camera up and cut that bit out, and we've got some nice highlight detail going on here, and these trees are just being kissed by a bit of light just from behind on there. So I really just like the way that mood was, and I also quite like the fact that we've got all this negative space going on there, which will just hopefully just lead everybody's attention to the tree line going down through there. Well, that was my thoughts on this image. Now, I was a bit worried just now because I don't know if we can do this, I haven't got a polarizer. As you can see, I'm using my histogram quite a lot on this one really, because we've got a lot of darkness going on here, and the histogram is showing me that it is fairly well sort of balanced in, as much as if there was too much darkness going on, the histogram would come away to the left and you'd get a straight line, which meant there's a lot of detail being missed in the darkness or in the shadows, and you don't want that. You kind of want to keep your histogram, because sometimes it is hard to see on this little tiny screen what's actually going on with the image. So this is where you kind of rely on your histogram a lot of the time, which is basically a digital representation of the light and the scales of light within the image. Now, what I was worried about is when I adjust my exposure, you see on I've got these zebra lines that come up, which just basically give me an indication that that's where the highlights and stuff are blowing out. So I'm very careful to avoid that if I can help it. But on the histogram, although it's over to the right hand side and it's peaking, it's not actually touching the side, so I know that there is still detail within the sky, so that when I get back into Lightroom or Photoshop, I know there's still pixels to play with there. But in this occasion, what I'm doing is I'm just going to adjust it so that those zebras disappear just a little bit. See, they're just there, so I just do it just like that, and I'm happy that everything in the image is going to be able to be played with in Photoshop. So I'm going to take that image there and pop that up for you now. This is a good time to talk about a histogram, really. I use the histogram quite a lot. I never used to, but it's a tool, and I've started to kind of look more into it, and I think I will do a bit more of an in-depth look at the histogram in a future video. But basically with the histogram, it's a digital representation of the colour grade from 0 to 256, is it, something like that, 253, and it basically makes a graph which you can then see on the back of your screen. Now sometimes, because the screen is backlit, you can't quite get your composition right, and so sometimes the light, in my mind, the light doesn't quite work sometimes, and so sometimes you miss details, such as in the shadows. If you're I heard a lot of photographers talk about shooting to the right or shooting to the left. If you shoot to the right, that means you've got all the details in the shadows. Even though if you want to darken them down in Lightroom or Photoshop, you've still got pixels there to actually manipulate. If your histogram is all the way to the left so that it's flat lining on the left-hand side, then you've got no pixels there, there's no detail there, and you can't do anything with it, so it'll always stay black. Whereas if you keep the histogram away from the edges on both sides, on the right-hand side, which is the lighter pixels and the white colour, you've still got detail to play with. Even if it looks on the back of the screen you've got nothing there, which if you look behind me now, it looks like there's nothing there, but obviously there is. It's a grey. It's grey, so if you overexpose, then you lose all the details and you can't do anything with it, and it'll always stay white. So that's basically a very basic look into the histogram. It is a little bit more involved in that, but it's something that you shouldn't really shy away from. It's something that's it's a fantastic tool to use, and once you get your head around it, it really does help improve your photography a great deal by just basically staying to the left or to the right. And you can also use it as well, which I do quite a lot for if I want a dark, moody set. I'm in a woodland or something like that, I want something dark and moody, I'll look at the histogram and shoot mainly to the left, so I know that mainly the image is concentrating on the darker colours, so I'll kind of underexpose things basically. But then you'll find that, say you've got like a light rays coming through or whatever, those will sort of, in my mind, they kind of pop a little bit more, sort of thing. So at least you've got something there to play with back in Photoshop. Well, that's my understanding of it anyway. It is a little bit more involved, like I said, but that's what helps me anyway, so hopefully it will help you. I think I've finished really what I want to do up here. I'm going to head down to the path, which is just down below me, and head back down through the woods. There's a lot of mist going on there now. The mist is coming in quite nicely, so hopefully we'll get some nice moody separational shots with the woods. So I'm going to get a wiggle on and get myself down there before it all goes again, because it was changing quite quickly. So yeah, I'll catch you down there. Okay, well, this is quite a nice little surprise. You've got all that atmosphere going on in the background there, if you can just about see that. So what I've done is I've put on the 100 to 400. I'm just picking out little spots around the place where I see like a pattern in the trees or whatever. So that's what I'm doing at the moment, is I'm just firing through. I've got it in portrait at the moment to try and get some sort of depth or height to the trees. But obviously with the 100 to 400 it's very, very close, so I'm actually shooting right in through to the trees. But I'm going to play around with the compositions around here, just move myself around quickly around this area, and hopefully we should be able to get some images by swapping between the 24mm and the 100 to 400. So I'll pop those up for you now, and yeah, quite exciting stuff. Okay, well, I think that's it for this area. This is the shot that most people come and take. I don't know if you can see that, it's shooting into the sun. But this is the one people, or this is the image that actually got me here in the first place. A lot of people take this image. If I quickly talk you through what's kind of going on. The sun's right slap bang in the way at the minute, but you've got these various peaks and stuff here, and the wall coming down with the gateway coming across. Now I've taken a couple of images just for my take on the situation. The mist that was around here has cleared now, and so I'm not sure if that's come out on the images that I've taken just yet. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go down and have a little look down in the forest down below before going back to the car. So I'll pick you up shortly. Okay, thank you for joining me on this beautiful morning at the Roaches. That's what it's called, the Roaches. So yeah, beautiful spot. I'm going to head back down to the car now, and there's another place that I want to visit just along the way there, and that might be the subject of next week's video. But I'm going to shoot off down there now, and yeah, if you'd like to leave a like and subscribe, and any comments would be fantastic. I do get to read most of them, so that's fantastic that we get that communication. That's fantastic. So yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.